Hey, this is Clint from CT Mad Mods, and this week we're doing the test drive of the new 2.0 in Shannon's rig. This is the final part to the 2.0 swap. Let's go! Took us a couple of weeks to do this swap, but man, it was worth it. It makes me want one. Let's go take it for a little spin. Sounds great. Rule number one of a test drive, make sure that hood's latched. Check it a couple of times. All right, safety first. Let's take it for a little spin. Gears in her axles. She's got a 490 gear in her transfer case. So at 4,500 RPMs, I'm doing about 62 miles an hour in fifth gear. What we're probably going to end up doing for Shannon is pulling that 4.9 gear out and putting her stock gearing back in the transfer case. Currently, just kind of driving around the streets, warming this thing up, getting it up to temp. We had an oil leak in the pan. I fixed that last night, so I'm hoping this little test drive, I'll be able to check on that oil leak and it'll be gone. If you're thinking about doing the 2.0 liter swap, it's pretty peppy. I've got the 1.6 16V in mine, and mine's pretty fast, but that's probably the gearing and the tires that I've got. She's currently running 33s. I've got 35s with 430 gears and a 6.5 in my transfer case. I think I would prefer to have the 4.9 in my transfer case, so I might end up doing a swap with Shannon. Just driving around town, you're in fifth gear pretty quick. Right now I'm doing 60 miles an hour, 4,000 RPMs. I'm on the frontage road, about to get on the highway. Man, this thing's fast. This thing's like driving a little go-kart. Her suspension is a spring over axle. I'm not sure what lift kit it is. I think it's Old Man Emu. But it's pretty choppy. Compared to mine, the turn radius on this FJ steering box is about a half a turn less, so I'm turning really fast by accident. Take a little getting used to. It's peppy. Yeehaw! Last night we were having an issue. We were trying to watch this needle and see if the thermostat would open, and it was staying right below the hot line, and it would never go above that yellow cross line that goes that way. and it would kind of stay between here and the maybe 3/4 hot. And we kept messing with it and kept messing with it. And ultimately what I did was we had set up a switch for the fan to turn the fan on. I had the fan on so it never would quite, it kept running hot because the thermostat would never open because the coolant was always cool. So I ended up turning the heater off, turning the fan off and driving it, and then it settled down and it stayed between where it's at right now and just maybe a little bit higher than that, which I guess is normal according to John Brown. The heater in this thing runs super warm. I think Shannon's gonna enjoy the heater in this thing. You can see some cardboard kind of hanging down. That's like some Reflectix, because in the wintertime, this thing would never quite heat up. I think she's gonna end up taking that down. I doubt she'll need it. So I've done several swaps now into a few Samurais, and I guess that begs the question, which one do I prefer? There's differences between the 16V and the 2.0 swap, obviously, but initially I was a little intimidated by the 2.0 swap because I read a bunch of horror stories about bleeding the air out of the coolant system and some of the modifications that you had to make, cutting and welding the engine mounts, etc. After I did it all, I think if I was to do it over again, I'd be looking for a 2.0 or a 2.3 liter for mine. There's obviously more power in the 2.0. I think once she gets her gearing corrected in this thing, she'll be able to do 75, 80 down the highway, no problem. Yeah, it's got power like right now. I don't think you could go wrong with either swap. I really like this 2.0 swap. There's some things that I don't like about it. One would be the timing chain. I really like the timing belt on the 16V. Gets it. This thing gets it. I don't know. I'm gonna let her drive it and let her decide if she wants to switch any gears. I need to adjust the clutch. I mean, it goes 60. Runs great, sounds great. The fan is set up to come on whenever it gets up to temperature, and it hasn't even kicked on yet. Doesn't run super hot. Lower radiator hose is warm, so it lets me know that the thermostat's opening. I'm gonna pull this thing in and check for that oil leak, make sure that the oil isn't coming out of the back of the oil pan. I went and resealed it up 2 days ago, and the bolts still had a little bit of residual oil on them, so I pulled the bolts out and put some sealant on those and put it all back together. I just drove it around here for like 30 minutes. I'm gonna put it back inside and see if I got oil dripping out of here. We're about to give this to Shannon. trying to decide to do a 16V or a 2.0 or a 2.3, I don't think you can go wrong with any of those swaps. Gearing obviously is going to play a big part in your final result. I'm completely happy with my 16V, but you know how it is. You're always wanting to upgrade and you always want to go bigger. The 2.0 is really peppy, it's fun. It throws that little Samurai around pretty good. I'm gonna let her drive it and see if she likes where it's at gearing wise. And if she wants to go a little bit faster on the highway, then we'll go ahead and pull her transfer case out. She still has her stock gears and we'll throw them in there. Big thanks goes to John Brown at Suzuki Freak Garage for all of his technical input, and Casey Morrison over at Zooks a Hazard for all of his help. If you have any questions, write them in the comments down below. And as always, tell me what I did wrong. All right, guys, if you watched my video to the end, I appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching my video.